Good morning, dear students. Today I will tell you about History Lesson 7 New Questions and Ideas. The story of the Buddha. Siddhartha, also known as Gautam, the founder of Buddhism, was born about 2500 years ago. This was a time of rapid change in the lives of people. Some kings in the Mahajanpadas were growing more powerful. New cities were developing and life was changing in the villages as well. Many thinkers were trying to understand these changes in society. They also wanted to try and find out the true meaning of life. The Buddha belonged to a small Gana known as the Sakya Gana and was a Kshatriya. When he was a young man, he left the comfort of his home in search of knowledge. He wandered for several years, meeting and holding discussions with other thinkers. He finally decided to find his own path to realization and meditated for days on end under a peepal tree at Bodh Gaya in Bihar, where he attained enlightenment. After that, he was known as Buddha or the Wise Man. He then went to Sarnath near Varanasi, where he taught for the first time. He spent the rest of his life traveling on foot, going from place to place, teaching people till he passed away at Kushinara. The stupa at Sarnath, this building known as a stupa, was built to mark the place where the Buddha first taught his message, Teachings of Buddha. The Buddha taught that life is full of suffering and unhappiness. This is caused because we have cravings and desires which often cannot be fulfilled. Sometimes, even if we get what we want, we are not satisfied and want even more or want other things. The Buddha described this as thirst or tanha. He taught that his constant craving could be removed by following moderation in everything. He also taught people to be kind and to respect others, including animals. He believed that the result of our actions, called karma, whether good or bad, affects us both in this life and the next life. The Buddha taught in the language of the ordinary people, Prakrit, so that everybody could understand his message. He also encouraged the people to think for themselves rather than to simply accept what he said. Upanishads. Around the time that the Buddha was preaching, and perhaps a little earlier, other thinkers also tried to find answers to difficult questions. Some of them wanted to know about life after death. Others wanted to know why sacrifices should be performed. Many of these thinkers felt that there was something permanent in the universe that would last even after death. They described this as Atma or the individual soul and the Brahman or the universal soul. They believed that ultimately both the Atma and the Brahman were one. Many of their ideas were recorded in the Upanishads. These were part of the later Vedic text. Upanishad literally means approaching and sitting near, and the text contains conversation between teacher and student. Often ideas were presented through a simple dialogue. Most Upanishadic thinkers were men, especially Brahmins and Rajas. Occasionally, there is mention of women thinkers such as Gargi, who was famous for her learning and participated in debates held in royal courts. Poor people rarely took part in these discussions. One of famous exception was Satyakama Jabala, who was named after his mother, the slave woman Jabali. He had a deep desire to learn about reality, was accepted as a student by a Brahmin teacher named Gautam, and became one of the best known thinkers of the time. Many of the ideas of Upanishads were later developed by famous thinker Shankaracharya. Jainism. The most famous thinker of Jainas, Vardhaman Mahavira, also spread his message around the time that is 2500 years ago. He was a Kshatriya prince of the Lichvis, a group that was a part of Vajji Sangha. At the age of 30, he left the home and went to live in a forest. For 12 years he led a hard and lonely life, at the end of which he attained enlightenment. He taught a simple doctrine: men and women who wish to know the truth must leave their homes. They must follow very strictly the rules of ahimsa, which means not hurting or killing living beings. All beings, said Mahavira, long to live. To all things, life is dear. Ordinary people could understand the teachings of Mahavira and his followers because they used Prakrit. There were several forms of Prakrit used in different parts of country and named after the regions in which they were used. For example, the Prakrit spoken in Magda was known as Magdi. Followers of Mahavira, who were known as Jainas, had to lead very simple lives, begging for food. They had to be absolutely honest and were especially asked not to steal. Also, they had to observe celibacy, and men had to give up everything, including their clothes. It was very difficult for most men and women to follow these strict rules. Nevertheless, thousands left their homes to learn and teach this new way of life. Many more remained behind and supported those who became monks and nuns, providing them with food. Jainism was supported mainly by traders, farmers who had to kill insects to protect their crops found it more difficult to follow the rules. Over hundreds of years, Jainism spread to different parts of North India and to Gujarat, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. The teachings of Mahavira and his followers were transmitted orally for several centuries. They were written down in the form in which they are presently available at a place called Vallabhi in Gujarat about 1500 years ago. The Sangha. Both Mahavira and the Buddha felt that only those who left their homes could gain true knowledge. They arranged for them to stay together in the Sangha, an association of those who left their homes. The rules made for Buddhist Sangha were written down in a book called Vinaya Pitaka. From this we know that there were separate branches for men and women. All men could join the Sangha. However, children had to take the permission of their parents and slaves that of their masters. Those who worked for the king had to take the permission and debtors that of creditors. Women had to take their husband's permission. Men and women who joined the Sangha led simple lives. They meditated for most of the time and went to cities and villages to beg for food during fixed hours. That is why they were known as bhikkhus and bhikkhunis. They taught others and helped one another. They also held meetings to settle any quarrel that took place within the Sangha. Those who joined the Sangha included Brahmins, Kshatriyas, merchants, laborers, barbers, courtesans and slaves. Many of them wrote down the teachings of Buddha. Some of them also composed beautiful poems describing their life in the Sangha. Monasteries. To begin with, both Jaina and Buddhist monks went from place to place throughout the year teaching people. The only time they stayed in one place was during the rainy season, when it was very difficult to travel. Then their supporters built temporary shelters for them in gardens, or they lived in natural caves in hilly areas. As time went on, many supporters of the monks and nuns and they themselves felt the need for more permanent shelters, and so monasteries were built. These were known as viharas. The earliest viharas were made of wood and then of brick. Some were even in caves that were dug out in the hills, especially in Western India. A Buddhist text tells us, just as the waters of rivers lose their names and separateness when they flow into the mighty ocean, so are Varna and ranks of family forgotten when the followers of Buddha join the orders of monks. Very often the land on which the vihara was built was donated by rich merchants or landowner or the king. The local people came with gifts of food, clothing, medicines for the monks and nuns. In return, they taught the people. Over the centuries, Buddhism spread to many parts of subcontinent and beyond. The system of ashramas. Around the time when Jainism and Buddhism were becoming popular, Brahmins developed the system of ashramas. Here the word ashrama does not mean a place where people live and meditate. It is used instead for a stage of life. 4 ashramas were recognized: Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanprastha and Sannyasa. Brahmin, Kshatriya and Vaishya men were expected to lead simple lives and study the Vedas during the early years of their life, Brahmacharya. Then they had to marry and live as householders, that is Grihastha ashram. Then they had to live in the forest and meditate, Vanprastha ashram. Finally, they had to give up everything and become sannyasis. This is sannyas ashram. The system of ashramas allowed men to spend some part of their lives in meditation. Generally, women were not allowed to study the Vedas and they had to follow the ashramas chosen by their husbands. Thank you.